Everyone, welcome back to this array series in JavaScript. And today we have question that we are given an array. We are given an array where all the elements are occurring twice, whereas there will be one element which will occur only once, and we have to find that element. Let's suppose your input array is 1, comma 2, comma 1, okay, 3, comma 2, 4, comma 3, okay. Suppose this is your input array. Now you see in this given array, 1 is occurring twice, okay, 3 is occurring twice, 2 is occurring twice, but only 4 is occurring only once, so this will be your output. Okay, so let's code this now. Method 1. I think the first solution that comes in mind is the iteration method. Okay, so what we will do, we will start the one loop from here, and each element we will again compare with the whole array, and we will count how many times it is happening. Like 1, we'll scan it, we'll see how many times it is. 2, scan it throughout the phase. Okay, so let's do code it now. For let I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, let count is equal to 0. For let j is equal to 0, j less than n, j plus plus. What we will do, if a of j is equal to a of I, okay, then what we have to perform, count plus plus. So once the loop ends, we will get to know how many times that is appearing. So we will see if count equals to 1, return a of I. Since only one elements will be appearing only once, so as soon as the count will be 1, it will return that and the function will end. That's it. If you talk of the time complexity, if you talk of the time complexity, two, like one or inside the other nested group, so I can say the time complexity will be big O of n square. Space complexity is not occupying any extra space, so big O of 1. Very simple method. Okay, but since the time complexity is n square, so I don't think this is a good approach. So let's go to the second method, method number 2, using XOR. If you remember the last class, we learned about this XOR operations. So let's quickly, recap that. So XOR operation is like elements. Like if you like elements XOR will return 0. True with true gives 0. False with false gives 0. True with false gives 1. We know the XOR operations. 1 XOR 1 will be 0. 2 XOR 2 will be 0. If there is only one element XOR of that, like only one, nothing XOR, so it will be 1 only. It will that number itself, right? So if someone asks you what is 2 XOR 8, okay, and if you have any confusion, so how we will perform, you will convert to this binary, 2 to this binary, you will convert 8 to binary, and then you will perform XOR operations. You know, in more detail, you can just have a Google it out, you will get it how to perform the XOR operation. I just gave you a, a hint. Okay, so now come to this question part, coding part. So what we will do, we will singly iterate through the array, we'll perform XOR with one itself, and then outcome, final answer will be like if your a is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 1 4 comma 2 comma 3 comma 3. So this is your suppose input array. Okay, so 1 XOR with 1 will return 0, fine. 2 XOR with 2, 0. 3 XOR with 0, 0. Only 4 is left, so this will give me output. So how do we code this? So initially I'll take answer is equal to 0. We don't have any value. Okay. Now we'll perform for loop. For let I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. I can write answer XOR. We'll keep XOR performing with this answer. So answer XOR equal to A of I. And at the end, what we will do? At the end, we will return answer. At the end, we will return answer. So this is your final answer. Now, someone, in JavaScript, we know that instead of writing this for loop this way, we can write this in for each way also, right? I can show you that also, that you have array, so I can write array dot for each. Now, for each returns the number itself, and here we go by index, here we go by index. For each will give me number, so I can write num is equal to num, and here I can write answer num is equal to num. So instead of going by index, I can directly go by the number itself, and at the end I can return the answer. So this was using the XOR operation. Next, method number three. Method number three. How do we do this? Okay, if you carefully notice, again back to the array 3 comma 3 comma 2. Okay, let's take a simple array. One element is appearing only once. The array property. One is the index of property. One is the index of property. Another is the last index of. Another property we have last index of. Now these two properties, index of returns the index value. First index returns the first index. Returns the first index. Last index returns the last index of that element. Last index of that element. For example, if I let's this index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I talk of the first index of 1, if the element is 1, okay, 1. First index will be 0, last index will be 1. If I talk of 3, first index will be 2 and second index will be 3. If I talk of 2, then first index will be 4, last index will be 4. Here we get the kick for it now. We know, and we have to like filter that element. We have to filter that element, right? So what we can do, I can quickly write here return return array dot filter array dot filter, and that number, what we will do, what we will do, return return what, array dot index of num equal to array dot last index of num. This much will work. This much will work. Since there will be only one element whose index of will matches with last index of, and this will work. So this was your method, third method. So easy, so easy, right? Now someone can ask me, why are we using filter instead of using find? We could have used find. So if you remember, filter returns array, whereas find returns a value. If you like, if I could have shown you by through the coding, that would be much easier. Like return filter here will return this output. Suppose one is the element which is occurring only once, so this will be on. If you could have done used find instead of this filter, this see, notice the output difference. Output difference. See, here it is giving an element number, and here it is giving a return type is an array. Okay, next, method number 4. Okay. See, that's what the aim of this class is, that we will, in JavaScript, we solve the same question using different approaches, different methods. Okay. If you are really liking this video, you can just like and subscribe to this channel for more such similar videos in JavaScript that we are going to cover in the coming classes. Now, the next method is using the map. Map. Okay. Now, what is map? We know map contains key value pair, isn't it? Like here, this was the input elements. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 4. This is a map. Now what we will do inside this map, we will assign key value pair. Like first element is 1. So how many times this 1 is appearing? 1 is appearing 2. How many times this 2 is appearing? 2 is appearing 2. How many times this 3 is appearing? 3 is appearing twice. How many times the 4 is appearing only once? Now what we will do? We'll scan through the elements. We'll scan through the map and we will see which element is occurring only first whose value is 1. That will be your output. Isn't it? Very easy, right? So let's code now. So first we are given an array. Okay, we will have input array. First we will declare a map const, you know, map is equal to new map. So we have this. Okay, now array dot for each num. If map has num, if map has num, so you have map is happening. So if already that value is present, then we need to update that value. Like we will need to add that count. So what we will do, map dot set num is the key, isn't it? And then whatever is the previous value that we will get from this map, and then we will do just plus one. And how do we get that value? Map dot get num plus one. Let's do one more again. The map. If you want to add any value, like we want to set any value, you will do set operation. If you want some information from map, you will use get operation. Right? So map dot set, we will give the key, and key is nothing but your number only. Here we are getting the previous value. We are getting the previous value, and this is increment. If the number is not present, else what we will do? Map dot set key value, and we'll set it with 1. Very easy. So the setting part of map is done. Now what we have to do? We have to iterate through the map. And we have to see whose key value is contained is 1, and that will be your output. So let's do the iteration. Now how do we iterate it? That for, we want the two values, right? So if you want, like, if you want to iterate, one is get set that we learned. Now iteration, if you want some iteration, then entries. So this is the keyword that we use. So for key dot value, this is the two value that we want, isn't it? We want key and we want the value also of map dot what? Map dot entries. Sorry. Map dot entries, isn't it? Now what we have to do, we have key and we have value also. We have key, we have value also. So if value equal to 1, if value is equal to 1, return. If at the end you don't return anything, then at the end return null, that we don't have any value. So I hope this is very clear that we iterate through the map. First we set the set how many times that value is appearing. Now once the iteration is done, and then we set it. We set it. Sorry, we get the value. How like whichever value is 1, then that will be answer. So if I talk of the time complexity, 2 times loop is happening. We go to 1 maximum. Space complexity, yes, we are using a space. So space complexity maximum can be of n elements. Suppose you have all the elements, not one elements exactly. Space complexity will be 1 by 2 plus 1, something this count. Okay. So I think we are done. Same question we have solved using different approach. If you really like this video, like this, subscribe this, and stay tuned for the another interesting question in JavaScript. Thank you all.